Hello everyone, I am Suvarna Gaikwad, working as Assistant Professor in Rayat Shikshan Sanstha's Dada Patil Mahavidyalaya, Karajat. So, I welcome you all in the TYBSc paper 2nd, Cell and Molecular Biology. So friends, as we are dealing with the aspects of molecular biology, in previous session we have completed the concept and properties of the genetic code. So in today's session we will discuss the translation process. So let's start. So in this particular session we are going to see the introduction of translation, its definition and the mechanism of translation. So first we will discuss what is the central dogma of molecular biology. So we all know that the central dogma of the molecular biology includes two important processes. First is the transcription and second is the translation. So transcription, it is the process. This is a transcription in which from the DNA there is a formation of a RNA. So it is expressed in the nucleus. And the second process is translation, that is from the mRNA there is a conversion of or formation of the protein, that is a chain of amino acids. So this is called as translation, and these two important processes forms central dogma of molecular biology. Okay. So coming to the definition of translation. Translation, it is a process that converts mRNA sequence into amino acids, and various amino acids they form the protein. So the translation, it is a final step in the journey from DNA sequence to the functional protein. Okay. So translation process basically involves the reading the genetic code in mRNA to make a functional protein. So actually the site of protein synthesis is the ribosomes. The function of a ribosome is very much important in this translation process because the ribosomes they bring desired amino acids. Then it reads genetic information in the form of genetic code and places amino acids at proper place. Okay. Let's see what are different necessary components for the translation process. So this process requires many components such as amino acids, ribosomes, mRNA, tRNA, various enzymes. The two important enzymes are amino acid tRNA synthetase and the peptidyl transferase. Then it also requires ATP as energy source and GTP for the synthesis of peptide bonds. It also requires initiation and the release factors, and finally the various inorganic ions such as magnesium ions. Okay, so these are some of the necessary components for the translation process. So before actual process of translation begins, there are two important processes, that is activation of amino acids and charging of tRNA. Let's see one by one. So activation of amino acids. So this is the first step in the translation. It is the reaction of amino acid with the ATP. So when the amino acid reacted with the ATP, it will form amino acid AMP enzyme complex. See, this reaction will be activated by the enzyme amino acid synthetase and also requires ATP. So the reaction is amino acid plus ATP. It gives amino acid, the ATP get converted into the AMP monophosphate and with the enzyme complex also, and it will releases to 2 phosphates. Okay, so the first step is activation of amino acids, in which from the amino acid and ATP there is a formation of amino acid enzyme complex. Okay, now the next step is charging of tRNA. So in the second step, the amino acid group of this complex is transferred to the 3' end of the tRNA to form the amino acid tRNA. So when this amino group or amino acid group will be attached to the 3' end of tRNA, so at that time it is called as charged tRNA molecule. Okay, so overall reaction is amino acid plus ATP and plus tRNA, it will give amino acid tRNA. So this is a charged tRNA molecule with adenosine monophosphate, which releases 2 phosphates. So let's see diagrammatically. So this is a amino acids. Basically this tRNA charging, it includes 2 steps. In the first step, amino acids with the ATP and the enzyme, that is the amino acid tRNA synthetase. So it will form this type of activated enzyme complex. Okay, now when this activated enzyme complex reacts with the tRNA, the amino acid, it will get transferred to this 3' end of this tRNA. Now this amino acid, it get transferred to this 3' end. Now this tRNA is called as charged tRNA, and overall process is called as tRNA charging. Okay, so this is one of the important process before beginning of translation. Now the mechanism of translation involves 3 major steps. First is the initiation, then elongation, and third is the termination process. Okay, let's see one by one. So again the actual initiation begins. There are 2 steps. First is the assembly of ribosomal subunits and second is attachment of mRNA. Let's see first the assembly of ribosomal subunits. Now if we take example of prokaryotic ribosomes, so the ribosomes exist normally as separate units. Okay, for example the smaller subunit will be separate and the larger subunit will be separated. Now these 2 subunits, they come together to form a complete ribosomes when they bind to this mRNA. So during the initiation process, the binding of this mRNA to the ribosome, it plays important role. So for the binding to this mRNA, these 2 subunits of the ribosome, they should be together. And for that assembly, magnesium ions are required. Okay. So next, after binding, the next is the attachment of mRNA to the ribosomes. So this step involves attachment of mRNA on smaller subunit of the ribosomes. Now we know that each prokaryotic ribosome has 2 subunits, the smaller subunit and the larger subunit. Now this smaller subunit, this is the smaller subunit, it has mRNA binding site, and the larger subunit, it has 3 sites such as A site, P site and the E site. See, the A site is called as amino acid tRNA binding site. The P site is called as peptidyl tRNA binding site, and the E site is called as exit site. Okay, so in this way this larger subunit contains 3 sites. Now the actual process of initiation is there. So this initiation process requires mRNA, charged tRNA, then GTP and the two ribosomal subunits and some of the initiation factors and the magnesium ions. So in prokaryotes, there are three initiation factors such as initiation factor 1, 2 and 3. Whereas in eukaryotes, there are nearly 10 initiation factors. Okay. So the question is, how can this mRNA will recognize the smaller subunit of the ribosome? Okay. So the answer is, in prokaryotes there is a particular sequence, that is the Shine-Dalgarno sequence. So this sequence was named by the professors Shine and Dalgarno. So this sequence is present before the initiation codon. Okay. So by the Shine-Dalgarno sequence, mRNA recognizes smaller subunit of the ribosome. Okay. So when mRNA recognizes smaller subunit, it will bind, and then the first initiation codon, it is the AUG, and this AUG will code for the methionine. Now the first codon is translated in all mRNA is the methionine. So in prokaryotes, first amino acid of the new protein is formylmethionine. Okay, because AUG codes for methionine. So in this way, the initiation step includes, there is a formation of first amino acid formylmethionine, okay, which is present at the P site. Now if we see the steps, so diagrammatically, first these are the initiation factors. Initiation factor 1, 2, 3. This is the smaller subunit 30S. Then in the first step, the initiation factors and the GTP will bind to the smaller subunit. Then this is a mRNA. This is a start codon, and on that there is a before start codon there is a Shine-Dalgarno sequence. This is okay. So by this sequence, mRNA will be recognize these ribosomes. So in the second step, this is the initiator tRNA, the tRNA with the methionine amino acid. Now the initiator tRNA and mRNA will bind to this smaller subunit, and they form 30S initiation complex. Okay. After that, the third step involves, there is a involvement of larger subunit, that is the 50S ribosomal subunit bound to the 30S initiation complex, and after that when the two subunits with the initiation complex, it will form the 70S initiation complex. So at the end of initiation process, there is a formation of 70S initiation complex. Now the next step is elongation process. Now after formation of 70S complex, now the new tRNA with the new amino acid attaches at the A site of the ribosome. Okay. And after attaching, the link between amino acid of the P site of the tRNA is broken, and the tRNA will be discharged. And now there is a function of peptidyl transferase. So peptidyl transferase is the enzyme which helps in formation of peptide bond. So when the link between amino acid and the tRNA will be broken, at that time the peptide bond formation is there between two amino acid with the enzyme peptidyl transferase. Okay, this is one step, and then the another enzyme, that is the translocase. So translocase enzyme helps in the movement of ribosome, and for that GTP provides energy for that sliding of ribosome. So for the elongation in prokaryotes, there are elongation factors such as elongation factor Tu, Ts and G. This elongation process requires elongation factors, then GTP, then charged tRNA and 70S initiation complex. Let's see. So these elongation includes three steps. First is the amino acid tRNA binding. Second is the peptide bond formation, and third is the translocation. So this is the figure in which this is the first step in which there is a codon recognition, that is the anticodon of incoming tRNA will base pair with the codons on the mRNA. Okay, so this is the first step, that is the amino acid tRNA binding. In the next step, the rRNA molecule of larger subunit, okay, it catalyzes formation of peptide bond between the new amino acid at the A site and the carboxyl end of the growing polypeptide chain. So in this way there is a formation of peptide bond. Okay, so this is a formation of peptide bond, and in the third step there is a translocation in which ribosome translocates, that is the sliding of ribosomes. So ribosome translocates the tRNA in A site to P site. Okay, and the empty tRNA will be shifted from this P site to the E site. Now the empty tRNA will be exited. So this is the E site, and now the ribosome is ready for the next amino acid tRNA. So this is a normal elongation cycle of the translation. Now the last step is termination. So due to the sliding of ribosome over mRNA, when any nonsense codon is available at a site of the ribosome, at that time protein synthesis terminates. Okay, as we know that the termination codons are 3: UAG, UGA and UAA. So in this process, the linkage between last tRNA and the polypeptide chain is broken, and this is broken by the three release factors: release factor 1, 2 and 3, and it requires the help of GTP. So in eukaryotes there is only one release factor 1. Actually, these release factor cause peptidyl transferase activity to transfer the polypeptide to water molecule. Okay, so it will result into cleavage of the bond between polypeptide and the tRNA. So finally, the free polypeptide leaves the ribosome, followed by mRNA, and there is a free tRNA is there. And finally, the ribosome dissociates into 30S and the 50S subunits, and they are ready for the translation again. Okay, let's see diagrammatically. So when a ribosome reaches stop codon such as UAG, UAA and UGA on mRNA, A site accepts the release factors. Then the release factors hydrolyzes bond between tRNA and last amino acids of the polypeptide chain. Thus, the polypeptide is free from this ribosome, and Finally, the two ribosomal subunits they dissociate and all other components they get separated and ready for the new cycle of translation. So in this way, the translation process involves initiation, elongation and the termination. Okay. So these are certain references for this topic. So friends, in today's session, we have seen the translation process. So in this next session, we will see another aspect of molecular biology. So thank you very much.